Well, in the last tutorial we were able to do some implementation of an if-else statement, and we worked on BMI calculator. And today I want us to look at something different, and in this case I want us to look at how would we then implement what we call switch statement. When you talk about switch statement, it is actually classified under the control structures called branching or decision. That is something, a condition is selected, and then after you select that particular given condition, then you have what we now refer to as a statement to execute. As you can see from my definition, a switch statement is a control flow statement that allows program to execute different blocks of code based on a given single expression, value of a given expression. Probably you would want to look at the case where you have student marks varying. Of course, you have from 0 all the way to 100, and you want to divide this based on the grades that are given. I know in the older system we used to have A, B, C, D, and of course a fail. But I know in the newest system that we are now having, we have different classification. But that not being an issue, in this case we have a switch. The statement or the word switch is a keyword, meaning it is known by the compiler. So this is the syntax of this kind of structure, where I have said execution of statements or a block of code is based on the value in your expression that you have. So like you will have a switch, then you will be able to supply, it's a function actually, you would supply an expression here. That is what we refer as an argument in programming. Then you will have the first constant, you have the first case. So every switch statement has a case, and that case is what you're going to use to execute given statement code. So in this case you will have the statements for the first constant expression. Whichever the name you give to that expression, you will call it here, so that you execute the statements that are highlighted in this area. If that does not happen, if the expression you entered does not marry or match with what you have here, then it is going to call what we call the break statement. The break statement now tells that this is the end of this block, so you now go to the next. It actually defines the boundary or the scope. When that is done, you will check on case number 2, and in case number 2 it will look at the expression you have versus what you have supplied. If it is true, then the statements in case number 2 will be executed. If not, it will go to the third one, the fourth. If all those cases have been examined and nothing is found of it, then there is what we call the default. As you can see here, the default value, meaning in case all other statements or all other expressions up here are false, then by default what you will return, what you will give us, will be found in this. Now the default does not have anything like a case. It only have the statement default followed by the statements that you want to be able to share. So basically that is the syntax. You have the switch, just for emphasis, and then you have the expression that you are testing. Then you give us the constant of that expression here. If it is taking 1, 2, 3, you'll be able to provide it here. Then you will have the break statement that is able to terminate that block, so that the next block can be checked if at all the value that is being checked is not in the first case. Then I have told you that if you don't have anything in all the cases, then you provide us the default, which is of course optional, but it is good just to have it, so that when we miss all things here, then we get the last statement, and then we know that the last statement was executed. So classically we have an example here. This is an example of a code that is supposed to return the number, returns the name of a day given the numbers. So in this case, we are defining our program. We will be able to write this program so that we can be able to know what it is able to do. So here you have include, standard input output, then we have the int here. Okay, I can modify that a bit. So the int, you know what it does. It is the main function. Then we are defining our variable here called int day of week. You don't have to call it day of week, but you remember one of our norms, one of our recommendations is that you define your variable based on what you would actually be able to remember. Then we are saying here printf, enter the number 1, 7, which of course they are representing the days of the week. And we know that a week has got 7 days, okay? Probably we will do another example that focuses on the number of months. Yeah. So here you will scanf. This is to give us the entry point. This is %i as an integer. And then we have ampersand day of week. This is the name of a variable. Then what we are switching this day of the week here. We are using this constants. So because it's an integer, it's going to accept numbers. Okay. So when it accepts numbers, like here we have switched the first one. The first case is 1. The number, when the number is 1, we could still use if here. Now we are saying it is Monday, and then you break. So when we enter 1, then it will be able to tell us it's Monday, and then it ends there. It does not check the subsequent blocks. But if it is maybe 2, you would see 2 will give us Tuesday. I'm not saying this is the order of the days. You can decide your own, but this is what we have decided on this particular code. So you'd see that the cases run all the way to the 4th case. We have the 5th case here, the 6th case, and surprisingly you have the 7th case, which says now this is on a Sunday. So then when we now come here, we print this is the default statement, and we are just printing invalid day number entered. That is to say, if you enter 9, for example, or you enter 0, you will be able to get an error. Why? Those are not within the defined, they are not within the cases. So we need to execute this program so that we can be able to see whether what we are saying is true. So let's open our development environment, and we are going to have this work so that we see whether it is able to do what we are saying. So let's come here and then name our program quickly. There we go again. We give it it's C, so we give it a name here, and let's call it day of week, like that, and then we finish. So once you finish, come down here under the resources, you click on here, and right there you have a program that is already doing what? Running. So I wouldn't want to waste a lot of time when I already have this code. I would simply be able to do it. But we can still write so that you understand what we are doing, and this is what we are going to do. So let's define int, maybe you can just say int day, okay, like that. So that is our expression, and then we are telling the person to enter the number of the day to see its name, okay, to see its name, and that will be taken to the next line. Then down here we are going to say scanf, then we say %i because this is an integer. And then we are going to refer to ampersand days, day, that one. And then we terminate the statement there. Then we are going to do what? We are now going to execute this program by doing the switch. So we're gonna switch. We want to switch is a keyword. And what are we switching? We have to supply the expression. We are switching day. That is our expression that we are switching. And then we have it in this environment. So within this block, we are going to now do execution of various elements. And so the first one, we want to have the first case. Here we are saying when the case is 1, then we are simply going to execute printf, and we say, maybe let's say this is Sunday, depending on how you view it. So let's say this is Sunday. And then you say break. Okay, break. That is the statement to break. Once you do that, let me just remind you that you look at your code here. You can see case 1, we have not defined it rightly. We need to define it this way. And then we will be able to print as we move. But this code must be closed. The switch must be enclosing everything. So this is not right. The right way is this one here. Printf Sunday break. So I'm going to have case 2, and in this case I'm going to say printf, and then I say Monday. Okay, Monday, and then I end this one, and then I say break. Okay, so at this point, allow me just to define my default because I want to copy paste. So I want to define my default statement here, just like that, and then I'm going to say print f, and then I say in my printf invalid day number. Invalid day number. Okay, invalid day number. So just like that. I can use this as an example. Let's try to run it. If it runs, well and good. Enter the day you want to see. So if we say enter 1, it is Sunday. Okay. If we run it again, for now let us enter something like 3 or 4. Invalid day number, because we have not defined the case in our situation. But that is very simple for you. You need to come here and then just copy this the way it is. The default statement comes if all other cases are not met. So I'm going to do this, paste this, and say this is Tuesday. Okay, and I'm gonna paste this here, and of course that one must be number 3. Yes, number 4, and then I say Wednesday. Then I'm going to have next one is number, is this gonna be Friday? Is it? I doubt. It is Thursday, and it's gonna be Friday. Is it so? Friday. And if you find this tutorial nice and you know it's good for you, you're learning out of it, please subscribe so that you get notification whenever you get a new video coming on your way. So with that, I need to change this one to, this was 5, this was 6, and this is 7. Okay, so when you run this again like this and you enter number like 7, then that is Saturday. Okay, and that is it, purely like that. And you now know how to do a case. Probably consider doing the one for months. I wish you nice time. Keep learning from this platform. Good time.